When I was about 5 years old, my father taught himself to play piano by borrowing a book from the library. He'd never played a musical instrument before in his life, and within a few weeks, he was playing Bach and Jingle Bells. I remember looking at his books, wanting to unlock the code of the big fat lollipop notes and zigzags, thinking that if Daddy could do it so effortlessly, then I'd be on my way to being a prodigy in no time. So my parents signed me up for lessons, but prodigal status seemed out of reach. I hated practicing, was terrified of performing, and soon grew disinterested in the piano. Still, my dad insisted on taking me to my lessons, even though it was an hour away from our house. He'd sit in the car during my piano lesson because he didn't want to disturb us, and then he'd drive an hour back home, sometimes stopping at McDonald's on the way. He'd always ask me to play for Elise for him, and I hated it, sometimes throwing a tantrum instead of playing for him. I took lessons until I was 13 years old, after which my parents finally let me quit. The only thing Daddy ever asked me to do was to play for him sometimes, and even then, I'd always refuse. But of all the pieces I learned during 7 years, for Elise is the only one I can still play.